Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back with Gold Mine Thoughts. And yeah, Coach Barnes, Xenia Barnes is joining us here once again today. We are excited to have her hailing from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome back today. How's everything?
Everything is going well, Jill. I'm always looking forward to meeting with you. I'm always happy to be here.
Great. And for those that may not know who Coach Barnes is and what you do, please tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So my name is Coach Barnes. I am the founder and CEO of Gold Mine Thoughts, located at 55 Washington Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11201, in the heart of Brooklyn.
Beautiful. And the types of things you're helping people with is really like leadership. And you're a trainer, you're a coach, and you offer so much in general. In particular, did you want to go over some of the things? I mean, you're a keynote speaker. You are, there's a lot to you. You're
there's so many hats, right?
Like, I'm just a CEO of Gold Mine Thoughts. No, there's a lot to you and the work you do.
Right. So Gold Mine Thoughts, and what sets us apart from everyone else is, yes, we do leadership development, but we also focus on the entire you. We focus on the complete you to elevate you to the best of your ability and polish the crown within you. So we focus on the 17-year-old you. We focus on the 24-year-old you. We focus on the full adult that you have become. And a lot of the times that digs into navigating through different traumas, that digs into navigating through feelings, thoughts, emotions, so many different things, anxiety, depression. But ultimately, we help gauge you down the correct path that allows you to utilize tools that you can have access to immediately so that you can start to be the best version of you. Because why not? If not you, then who? Like, why not you?
Yeah. We say there are already enough chairs in the room, bring the stage. So since
Absolutely.
2002, you've been providing these types of services to clients from New York and beyond. Strategic planning, innovative solutions, always results-driven work. And I love looking on the website. I urge everyone to do the same, goldminethoughts.com. Check out her videos. Check out the work she's done, because there's so much to her coaching to really help elevate you. And in particular today, did you have an area of focus for us?
Absolutely. Today I figured it will be, why not let's focus on the 17-year-old version of you. Think about the things that if you had access to when you were 17, what discussion, what discourse would you have with a 17-year-old you, given all the knowledge that you know now? How would that have changed? And, and that's work that I do with a lot of my clients, because it helps them to see how they got to where they are. It helps them to see how it shaped their personality. It also helps them, especially the ones who are navigating with anxiety or depression, it helps them uncover things that triggers that they didn't even know they had. Right. So once you begin to sometimes step back and think about the 17-year-old you, you start to think about, I was very carefree back then. I was open to trying so many different things. Why have I stopped doing that? And it also gives you another perspective to think about, you know what? I want to be more spontaneous the way I used to be, because those are the things that brought me joy. How can I add that into my life now so that I can begin to start that work-life boundary, that balance that we often lose once we become an adult, because we're like, work. And we forget we forget to laugh. We forget to enjoy life. We forget to just learn to live in the moment and be okay with changes. And a lot of that stems back to the teenage version of you.
Wow, so true. It is, right? To be so carefree. You're right. Once we become adults, it's like work. The mentality changes, and we're so focused on just paying the bills, getting by, and it's like you lose that spontaneity and that drive. So how do you identify the why, right? In these
Mhm.
in these people, making them think back to 17, what they could be, what they could want, and how they could try to rethink and reprogram back to those days a little bit. How do you do it?
And I'm glad you asked that question, right? Because a lot of that stems with the why. Like a lot of clients come to me and they don't kind of that not don't, but a lot of them have they why have shifted. And they're coming to a point in life where they're not understanding. Like they're trying to hold on to the original why and not recognizing that it has elevated with the person that they've become. So while in the beginning your why may have been one cause, as you navigate through life and you're depending on the circumstances, the things that are around you, your why may have shifted, right? And you have to think about, does your why align with your purpose? And does your purpose align with your passion? Because those are passion and purpose are two different things. I can have a passion for something and I can love it. I could have been loving it since I was 16 years old. However, that may not be what my purpose is. My passion myself has always been dancing. Right. So I've taught people, I've choreographed for a lot of people. I took a lot of teenagers across country to dance and perform in different talent shows like Dance of America and, One Nationals and different things like that. But however, that wasn't my purpose. That was my passion. My purpose was tapping into others and helping them elevate themselves and molding the mindsets of other people, or helping remold, reshift, recondition the mindsets of other. And I had to come to term that with my 17-year-old passion was my adult passion. It was no longer my adult purpose. So while I still like and love dancing, I just know that that's not my purpose.
Got it. Got it. So we could still have our wants, desires, our hobbies, or this, but you're right. But there's some people who have trouble finding their purpose, right?
Mhm.
And how do you work with them? I mean, especially after COVID, right? Because people had to find a new talent, a new way
Mhm.
of living, a new job. It's like we all have something that's unique, and I'm sure you instill that in people's heads, and you can find it, right?
Absolutely. And what I usually tell my clients is get you a nice size chart paper and have a silent conversation. And I call it a silent conversation because it's a conversation with yourself without you having to talk to someone. It's just you writing
Mm-hmm.
down and then stepping back and looking at it, internalizing, and see what inputs and outputs you need to put into it to get the result that you want. So you're trying to determine, like, why do I do this work? Right? You need to think about, okay, well, what benefits do you get from this work? What joy do you get from this work? How much of your time do you get? Like, do you pour into this work? And do you get a result, or the what is the word that I'm looking for? Do you feel the joy or fulfillment from the work that you're doing, right? So that's one. That's you scratching the surface, trying to understand your why, and is your why aligned with the person that you are now, right? Then you have another paper, a chart paper, and it can be a nice size post-it, like the teacher size post-it, and you think about, okay, so if I'm not doing this, what could I be doing, right? What could I be doing that will bring me the things and the fulfillment and the joys that I'm missing from what I'm doing now, right? And then once you do that and you can step back, course, internalize. And sometimes the best thing is walking away from it and coming back another day and looking at it with fresh eyes, fresh thoughts, fresh mind, because there may be things that you leave out in a moment. There may be things that's not clicking to you in a moment. So I tell my clients to do it over a week process, because that gives you time to write something down, go off, do something, come back. And like I said, I always tell people, if you're a person like me, AD, there's a thousand things happening in your mind, right? And often I'll start jotting some things down, and I'm like, oh wait, hold on, let me think about it. And I go off and do something. I go, okay, wait, let me come back and write this down. I forgot to put this on the paper, and that's the authentic you. And it's so often that we forget the authentic us, because we wear this mask and we go to work and we just we do our best with coping and living life. But when you working with Gold Mine Thoughts, our focus is uncovering under the mask and what makes you happy,
Yep.
truly happy in your authentic self, so that you can elevate to the best version of yourself. And that's all anybody wants. They want to be the best version of themselves, whether it's a leader, whether it's a team member, whether it's a parent, a sibling, a friend. They just want to be the best versions of themselves. And here at Gold Mine Thoughts, that's what we do. We help you on your journey to being the best version of yourself.
Beautiful. Wow. It is awesome because so many of us really, especially after the pandemic, I think realize life is too short. Life is too precious. Now is the time. Let's be the best self we can be. Plus, I got to be honest, spring is in the air. Something about spring and summer that makes me feel more inspired, more energetic,
Mhm.
right? And could you share, would you mind sharing some of your clients' stories, what you're working on without using names, but something in particular that maybe can really relate to our audience today about maybe it'll inspire them saying, hey, I could use help with that. Or, wow, I
Mhm.
see myself in their shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a few different clients in different sectors of the work field. I work with non-for-profit agencies, and a lot of those agencies, I work with them in the terms of their startup, figuring out how to file for their 501c3, as well as building a team, right? And what teams look like, what does team management look like, what does effective communication look, sound, and feel like? And that's pretty much a big part of working with non-for-profits, is that idea of coming from keeping the balance between the corporate setting as well as the non-for-profit sector, and understanding when you're working with the non-for-profit sector, you're dealing with a lot of people's emotions, right? Because most of the non-for-profits I work with, they are dealing with trauma in the neighborhoods, or survivors of gun violence or domestic abuse and things of that nature. So it's a lot of the work is heavy on the heart and the soul. And it's about teaching them how to listen with empathy, be okay with the pause and the silence, and to respond without judging. So a big sector of the work is navigating with communication and effective communication. And that goes across board with everyone. But as far as like, I want to say with my clients that call me like the trauma coach, right? We really focus on identifying what the trauma is, identifying the triggers, and identifying an action plan together that will help them learn to navigate through their thoughts, their feelings, and emotions without feeling a sense of overwhelmness all the time. Because there will be time when you're dealing with trauma.
Anxiety. Yes.
You'll feel anxiety, you have that depression. And a lot of the coaching goes around helping them to understand that it's okay to not be okay. The important thing is asking for help. So that's a big sector of, without telling you anyone's story, but kind of giving you an idea of the work that we do with our clients. It is, again, about helping them to become the best versions of themselves, and especially knowing from experience. And that's what really brings this to be, why I'm so passionate about the work that I do, and why it is my why, because having gone through a traumatic experience, both with losing my only nephew, and then also being diagnosed with an illness, a terminal illness that there's no cure for. It was a lot. It was a lot to deal with. It was a lot to try to understand why this was happening to me. It was a lot grieving, not knowing that I was depressed, but just knowing that I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And it was learning how to navigate through that myself is what brought me here, and what brought me to really crafting my business around healing the traumatic you, shaping you and helping you to heal yourself and not look for someone else to heal you, but be your own cheerleader, be your own champion, and understand, like I said, it is okay to not be okay. You just really need to focus on making sure that you are doing the best that you can for you and ask for help.
Beautifully said. Wow. Thank you. Goldmine Thoughts. Just Coach Barnes, tell us how we can reach out to you.
Yes, you can reach out to me at goldminethoughts.com. Again, that is goldminethoughts.com. Or you can also email me info@goldminethoughts.com.
Now, what's the gold mine brain dump? What was that I read on the site before?
Yes, so the I love the brain dump. Yes, so the gold mine brain dump is all about getting everything. It's just dumping your crap off of your mind. That's the best way to say it. It's like everything that you're holding in your mind is not trying to structure it. It's not trying to be grammatically correct. It's just you writing, releasing your day, releasing your week, your month, whatever it is, releasing whatever is hurting you, bothering you, releasing if it's things that you're excited about, and then leaving it, coming back to it another day and reflecting, and then saying, okay, I see what this is. Now let me organize and try to plan. Let me see, what are the things that I need to separate myself from? What are the things that I'm creating more work for myself than I have to be? And then what are the things that I need to dig deeper into this? Okay, this is something I want to dig deeper into. I'm going to start to brain dump a little more about specifically this. You know, it allows you to be more aware of yourself. It allows you to be more aware of your environment, your relationships. And it also allows you to begin to recognize, I have some work to do. I have some boundaries that I have to set. You know, I have a plan that I need to put in place, because right now I'm stagnant. Right now I may be comfortable, like too comfortable in the state that I am, and I'm not getting the result that I want. So the brain dumping helps you to begin to strategize a path, an action plan to help you get to the result that you want.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Coach Barnes, what else did you want to share with us today?
I definitely want to share, like last week we were talking.
I like your sweater, by the way, just saying.
Oh, thank you.
I love it's got those little, I love those. That's so pretty.
I have a habit of pulling my sleeves. So I was like, you know what, let me find something that naturally just comes.
That is awesome.
Thank you so much. Yes, so we did get cut off last time, and I want to talk about, don't forget, I have the Recondition book coming out, Loving Yourself Through Trauma, as well as the Grieving to Heal book, Grieving to Heal, the Shadow Boy Experience. And again, the Shadow Boy Experience is all about letting go the things in the past, or even if you're grieving the loss of someone, or if you're grieving you're grieving yourself, in the sense of you are no longer the person that you used to be, in terms of illness, in terms of maybe you got a divorce, you know, and you're trying to figure out, after being married for 30 years, you're trying to figure out, okay, what does life look like for me now? Or maybe you're a parent and your child has finally left the nest. They're off to college, or they're moving out, they're off on their own, and you're trying to figure out, oh my God, what do I do with my life now? Because I spent the past 21 years or the past 20 something years helping this individual become a grown-up, and now I have all this time on my hands. What do I do? Right? So the shadowboarding experience is a structure that navigates you how to look at yourself and how to get to the best ultimate you. The Recondition is a book that focuses on your trauma and loving yourself through that trauma, and what does it look like for you to enter a new world of love. What does love look like to you? What does it mean? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? How do you know that this is love that you're feeling and it's not infatuation? So they're two different books, but they're both about elevating yourself. They're both about getting to really reflect and internalize who you are. So I'll say, if you are ready to do the work, please be on the lookout for my book, Grieving to Heal, the Shadowboarding Experience, and as well as the Recondition, Loving Yourself Through the Trauma. You will have access to pre-order on my website. That is www.goldminethoughts.com. And I have workshops coming up. Anything you need to know, go to the website. That's www.goldminethoughts.com and check us out.
Well, we will. We still have 5 minutes left in the show. I don't want to cut you short. You're great. We talk about traumas. A lot of us have traumas in our lives, right? And may not even realize it. You're helping people
Right.
discover that, right? Because sometimes
Right.
you can't fix a pattern. Explain that concept of changing someone that may be stuck in a sense with the trauma.
And a lot of that work is them identifying what trauma is. So that goes to the brain dumping, because sometimes you push things down so far that you don't recognize like that was the trauma that triggered you to where you are now. So it's about listening. So what I do is I listen to my clients, and I listen with empathy. I listen without judgment. I listen while they are uncovering for themselves. Sometimes when we're meeting, they're saying things for the first time, and they have that, and that's the best part of the job, when they have that aha moment where it's like, wait, I never even noticed how much of a weight that has put on me, or I never even noticed that was something that was bothering or triggering me, or that's something I haven't thought about in so long. And I tell them, I say, see, that's your golden moment. That's your golden moment, because that's when you recognize, I'm not going crazy. It's not in my mind. And this is what I get to focus on. It's not about what someone else sees. It's about what you see in yourself. And that's why I have that saying, are you looking out a window or are you looking in the mirror? And that's because the mirror represents your reflection and the things that you give off that you don't even notice, that you're dumping on someone else, and not realizing the person on the other side, they have feelings, they have thoughts, they're a real person too. They're a real person too. So be intentional with your words, even if you're speaking to yourself in the mirror, even if it's you thinking out loud, be intentional with your words, because you can hurt yourself or you can hurt someone else. The window is a thought process of opportunity, because by telling your story, it allows you that you could be helping someone else. You might not even realize that sharing your story is helping someone else. So that's your opportunity. It's your opportunity to both inspire, uplift, but as well as reflect and receive, because you may find someone that says, hey, I've been through that and I tried this and it worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you. So that's your opportunity. So I always ask my clients, are you looking at a mirror, or are you looking out of a window? Is this your reflection, or is this your opportunity?
Beautiful. Couldn't have said it better, Coach Barnes. If someone wants to reach out with you, to chat with you, to talk to you, would you mind sharing how the process works?
Absolutely. So you would log on to www.goldminethoughts.com. You can immediately on that site book a consultation with me. It automatically goes to my calendar, and my assistant sends out the response, and you'll add it to my calendar, and then we meet. What I do is during the consultation can go one or two ways. One, it can either go where you, from the consultation, you say, yes, I think that this is a fit for me. And then the price for the consultation is tacked on to whichever package you choose. Or if you decide, hey, this is not, I don't think I'm ready to do this, or I think I want to keep searching around, that's fine. That's okay. But then it's a fee for the consultation. So again, everything is very reasonable. I often tell my clients to, after the consultation, come to one of my free workshops, which is of the month, the last Sunday of the month, just so they can get an idea of the work that we do and how it impacts the individual, and then they can make their final decision from there. I'm not about forcing myself on people. Again, I am here to be a tool and a vessel to help individuals get to where they want to be. So please check me out. Gold Mine Thoughts. That's www.goldminethoughts.com, and book your consultation with Coach Barnes today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, for joining us, and for always enlightening us. Gold Mine Thoughts, Coach Barnes. You have a fantastic day. And to all of our listeners, the same. Stay tuned. More of the show's on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.